Oh, oh no. Okay, let's see. The request button is not coming up. Accept.
We did
Yay!
it.
We did it. Hey Randy, how you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing so good. I
Excellent.
I literally just hopped off a call with a client, so I didn't get a chance to heat up my lunch yet. I'm about to go grab it.
I was like, I
Uh,
hear it. I hear it beeping over there.
yeah, give me one
You're so
second.
good. Good. You're so good.
All right.
What's up, Valerie?
All right. Ah, awesome. Randy, thank you so much for taking time to like just hang out and chat.
A- Absolutely. I'm glad the timing worked out because, yeah, you hit me up and then
Uh-oh, you're frozen for a second. Hello, hello. Mic check. Where Randy's in a car outside of a rehearsal space for a job, and so might not have the best reception, but that's okay. We're gonna roll with it. We got some nice comments about your car, Randy. Oh no. Okay, let's try this again. You're back.
I'm back.
It's all right. We're gonna make it work.
I love it. I love it. I love it. It says that I have a good amount of service here. So, and thank you for the nice comments for the car. It's definitely my girlfriend's car.
Okay.
So shout out Juliet for letting me take the call in the red seats.
That's very nice. But yeah, maybe do you want to tell people where you are? Like you said, you're about to where you're sitting outside of.
Yeah, I'm actually outside of the Toyota Sports Performance Center.
Mm.
So they're about to release the Nike Jam, the shoe that they've been working on for breakers. And so we're doing like a little it's a and I don't know how much I can say about it, but it's an installation or an activation with Shoe Palace
Mm-hmm.
here in a couple stores in Los Angeles. So we're shooting some stuff to figure out kind of the mocap life of doing some activation stuff. So I'm about to
Mm-hmm.
go in and throw on the shoe and dance around a little bit for them. So
That's
yeah, it's been really cool because Nike has really leaned on
mhm.
B girls for this one, and this is the first sports shoe ever, sports artist athlete shoe ever that's been geared towards women.
Yeah. That was I got to be a part of some of the testing
Yes,
rounds.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
it is that the
It's the
shoe?
shoe.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's the shoe. So the you've seen many
Mm-hmm.
iterations from coming through some of those sessions, but
Mm-hmm.
it's gone through a lot of looks, a lot of feels, a lot of different like silhouettes,
Mm-hmm.
and they've finally landed on one. So that releases July 27th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're starting to get ready for that launch for that drop. You can see the shoe if you Google it. You can like see the final shoe. There's a couple different colorways.
What? Wait, what
Yeah, that'll
do
be
we Google?
premiering. Nike Jam, JAM is the name of the shoe.
Nike Jam shoes. That's awesome. I
Yes, it's an official breaking shoe. And you know, the tricky thing is that breakers all like to look different, right? So it's
Mhm.
risky to like drop one shoe, but
Sure.
and you know, it'll the breaking community will always have thoughts and opinions on things, which I think is great, and there's
Mm-hmm.
always conversation around it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually been like pretty accepted for something trying to come into the breaking world for the fact that they really involve the breaking community in trying to figure this one out. So
I think that's the part that I was really pleasantly surprised by, that a big company is like so you in the community and really
mm,
want feedback from the
totally,
people that they're targeting,
totally.
right? And so
And
That's
it's a corporation, and I can't speak to the corporation,
hmm
the bigger machine, but everyone that I worked with personally that was on that team
hmm
was so wonderful.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Cool. Well, congrats on
Thank
kind of just
you.
seeing me see that project forward
Yeah.
and being yeah. And then
Yeah.
thank you for inviting us to be a part of that too. That was really
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. Thank you for coming through to those sessions. And I think a lot of different voices got to be heard in the
Hmm
mix to try to land on one common shoe. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it could also be the first of a line, where you really see
hmm
different, because everyone's got different feels, and there's eras for different shoes, right? We start with the shell toe, and now we're kind of in this like almost like running-esque shoe, sports shoe that we're
hmm
looking at. So we'll see where breaking goes next.
I'm looking forward to it. This is meant to be like a lunch or snack break as well, so I'm gonna remind myself to eat. Yeah, what are you snacking on before going in for a job?
Um, I against Sherry's recommendation, I have nuts because they're too
Okay.
full of fat to burn. But I usually carry almonds with me,
hmm
and then I like the RX bars as
hmm
far as the sports bars is usually what I go. Life has been busy is like an understatement. So right now it's a little bit of like grab whatever's there. I had eggs and toast and spinach right before leaving the house,
hmm
and then yeah, I have a we go in an hour, so
hmm
I'll
You
have
got some
some.
time.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
some nuts, and then I have little bars, and hopefully they got some snacks in there too. And then always
Hey.
coffee. I'm a coffee kid in the mornings or
hmm
early afternoon, I guess. So yeah, what are you eating?
I'm eating some leftover Indian food, some
Ooh.
buttered chicken with some really nice rice. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, yeah. That's what I got. But I totally hear you. Like sometimes it's just grab what you got, and and then that's great. That's like the best. So you know,
Yeah,
that's literally. I feel like a lot of times as dancers, that's the reality of like just grab what you can in between jobs or in between training.
yeah,
Um,
make it as healthy as possible. But yeah, it's so we're prepping for this show in New York, and I've been both in rehearsals and then prepping outside of it, and even just like remembering how much my appetite ramps up when I'm this
mhm,
active.
mhm,
I'm like I had gone through more of a organizational period with like dancers U, so I wasn't moving as much, and
mhm,
so now I was like trying to eat that same amount but be dancing like 3 times as much. And the
mhm.
first couple days I was like ravenous. I felt like I couldn't like eat enough. So we're re-tipping the scales to like have this much energetic output.
Yeah, it's actually really. I'm glad you brought that up because there's like different seasons
Mm-hmm.
that we experience as dancers and as organizers, leaders. Um, can you tell me, like, share a little bit more about that? How do you navigate that in like the different seasons, and how do
Yeah.
you like prepare for that nutritionally, but also like just life wise?
Yeah, it used to be a lot harder for me, specifically when I was stepping into organizational periods and I couldn't dance or train as much. It used to like cause a lot of anxiety. And I think growing up playing sports and then moving into dance, it was like I always had to be moving my body. And I felt like I was being lazy if I wasn't moving my body, even if I was like using my brain or working on other things. And so it used to really like ramp up my anxiety and make me feel like I needed to get out and move and stuff. And now I'm I'm more aware of like the waves of things. And so I'm like, okay, I know the dance and the activity part will come back around, but right now
Mhm.
what's calling to me is the focus on like organization or so now I'm trying to enjoy when I'm getting to like sit and organize and like rest my body a little bit more, and that's usually the time that I try to like up my stretching or really get into the chiropractor, like just give my body a chance to rest while I'm like working my brain.
Mhm.
Um, but then, yeah, monitoring my food intake because I can't eat like a dancer that's in, 10-hour rehearsals. So then figuring out like where to pull back in that, where, you know, I'm not one for diet. I don't really diet. But I do know my metabolism really changes on how active I am. So, yeah, just scaling back a little bit. And it always takes a little bit of time to be like, oh, okay, I'm not moving right now. Let me scale back. And then once I start moving again, be like, oh, a couple days in, like, wow, I'm starving. Okay, let me like ramp it back up. But, yeah, I think I'm getting to a point where I'm like enjoying both ends of things. Um, and so, yeah, talking myself down off the anxiety ledge when I'm not moving and being like, it's gonna come. You'll be fine. You're not gonna all of a sudden forget all the training you've ever done and like
Right.
lose everything. Yeah. So,
I think a lot like dancers, we don't talk about that because there's not a built-in off season, on season
yeah,
like other sports, right? And so it's almost like we have to figure that out on our own and allow our bodies to change or even like navigate those changes.
totally.
Um, so yeah, thanks for sharing that and talking about that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's especially when some of it is reliant on like gig work, right? You almost don't have control over when you're on or when you're off.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's trying not to live in the like scarcity mentality of not being able to enjoy the time off because you're so worried about when the next time will come, right? And me trying to learn to like, okay, I don't have anything for this coming like couple weeks. Let me enjoy it instead of being nervous about not having anything.
Yeah. Do you feel like that comes just with like experience and time, or like how do you like
I
yeah.
I think part of it comes with experience and time, but I also think it has to be like a practice at first. Like I don't know that it's ever gonna come. What up, Bam Bam?
Mhm.
I don't know that it's ever gonna come naturally. I think it has to be something that you decide. Like you have to train your mental as much as you have to train your physical, especially as like an artist athlete. And so if my body got this way from a lot of practice and intentional time, then my mind also needs practice and intentional time. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I think sometimes we just expect like as we grow up these things should naturally fall into place or like experience will just naturally make us this way, but I think experience gives us better tools to practice with, but you still have to put in the time and the practice.
Mhm. Yeah. What are some of the tools that helped you to put in that mental practice? Like what were things in place for you that
Getting help, like
Mhm.
not even necessarily therapy, but I think therapy does help a lot. But getting there was a coach that I was working with, um still working with named Carl,
Mhm.
and he had come from the gymnastics world, but he was really proficient in like mentality training
Mhm.
and working with athletes.
Mhm.
And so I think we like to think we can do it on our own, right? But he helped give me a lot of tools as to how to approach things, and even just having somebody to like verbally out loud talk with,
Mhm.
so that your thoughts don't just live in your brain. And sometimes when you say something that's on your mind, like if it's anxiety ridden, you kind of realize how silly it sounds when you say it
Mhm.
out loud, right?
Yeah.
Or you just kind of like let the word vomit go and you end up taking yourself to what the root of the thing is. So yeah, Carl definitely helped. Taking time out of my day to journal or like start the day with mental prep
Mhm.
versus jumping right into my day or going right into the physical bit of it was super important too. And for me, um making it a routine was helpful. So it's like I always have coffee in the morning. So that started to be like, okay, I'm going to get up, I'm going to do 20 minutes of yoga, make my coffee, sit on the porch, and do 30 minutes of journaling.
Mhm.
And like that's how, unless like work or something is changing that schedule, that's how I'm starting every
Mhm.
day. And I saw a big shift in that. And also what I'm focusing on, like when I'm trying to journal, I think looking at the things that are stressing me out, but also trying to like focus in on the things that I'm grateful for, the things that are exciting that are coming up, and like reprogram what my mind is spending most of its time thinking about.
Mm. It sounds like it's very intentional work in setting aside time to do that, which I know can be a challenge for many of us.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, it's helpful to just hear examples of like how you integrate building rituals. And I feel like, I mean, part of my goal in these talks is to like share knowledge and wisdom in wellness and health, right? And I feel like of course nutrition, which is something I love talking about, but also mental health and
Mm-hmm.
wellness as
Mm-hmm.
well. And that needs to be continued in the conversation among
Yeah.
performers.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that.
And it all ties together, right? Like I really feel like when I'm eating better,
Mm-hmm.
my brain is clearer and I
Yeah.
just feel better in general. Um, which helps me then with my mental and then like helps me with so it's all, you know, when I'm taking care of my
Mm-hmm.
body, then I'm thinking more about eating healthy. When I'm eating healthy, my brain feels clearer. When my brain feels clear, I feel more creative to
Mm-hmm.
like get into my body again. So it all feels like it works together, and it's so interesting to separate them out so we make sure that we're having time for all of them, but remember how integrated they all are.
Yeah. Yeah. That actually, I mean, I don't want to take off topic, but there's an interesting idea of like we almost need to like we think of a self-care in Western culture in our current society of like you need to add more things to your schedule to do self-care, right? You have to schedule the massage, schedule the thing,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
oftentimes it's
Yes.
pausing, right? And
Yes.
rather than adding more, even
Yes.
for self-care.
And the pausing and I realized like the quiet was huge for me, and
Mm-hmm.
I always had music going, I always was out of the house, I always had something planned. I didn't really like free time, and it was up for grabs for other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and now I'm realizing that I need that quiet to give my brain space to even figure out what it wants to think about or see what comes up for it and all of that. And quiet, I think, was something I was afraid of for a long time because I didn't know what was going to come up, right? Like staying busy is also a tool of distraction. So
Mm-hmm. Ooh, I feel we can spend more time on that. But I definitely want to make sure we get time to talk about your show coming up.
yeah.
Crown. Tell us about the show and also how did it come about? The idea come
Yes.
about.
Super excited. We're putting on a show in New York, July 7th, called Passing the Crown. It's at Lincoln Center. It's part of their like summer festival lineup at Damrosch Park, outdoors, free to the public with an RSVP. And so I'll start at the beginning. So my partner Juliet is a string player. She's a violinist and a composer, and she'd been working on with Lincoln Center on a couple different projects where she was hired in to compose something that was already happening. Um, and during that time, she was doing a lot of 50-year celebration of hip hop
Mm-hmm.
concerts, like I won't name them because I don't want it to sound like those were bad, but she was in orchestra for a lot of like hip hop things. And she was like, she noticed a couple things. The first was that there was really a lack of the female MC voice in a lot of these
Mm-hmm.
celebrations. Um, and then the second was that they were hiring kind of like classical orchestras to come in and do these hip hop shows, and she
Oh,
was like, it feels like they're hiring people that
yeah.
aren't a part of that world or don't love hip hop or just
Right.
aren't energetic on stage, and in it they're like playing and that's cool, but
Mm-hmm.
she's like, it feels separated from the show to the orchestra.
Yeah.
So Lincoln Center had approached her and been like, we love the work that you're doing on these other projects. Do you have any ideas of your own that you would like to pitch?
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yes. She was like, I want to take um, this idea of like orchestra and hip hop and really like raise it to another level and highlight women in it. So the show she's produced is we have DJ Reborn, who's Lauryn Hill's DJ on tour,
Mm-hmm.
a 20-piece all-female orchestra, 5 B girls, and then 5 local to New York dancers. There's it's an hour-long show. There's 4 15-minute chapters that they're all female New York MCs specifically. So it's a tribute to New York MCs from like Shaw Rock all the way to like Coi Leray now. And it's not in time order. We're just like throwing them all out how feels good. And
Mm-hmm.
then the 5 B girls are like from all over the US. So we have Lily Breeze, we have Kate in Los Angeles, myself, then we have Pepsi coming in, and then we have Alone
Hmm.
coming in from France actually to join. And then
Nice.
the goal is to take this to different cities. And every time we're in a new city, we want to reach out to local
Hmm.
dancers to have local dancers rep the style that's from that city.
Hmm.
Because I also think that's a big part of hip hop is tapping into the communities you're in rather than just going and being like we're bringing you a show and we're
Here.
like
Yeah.
setting this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have 5 women from Ladies of Hip Hop that are coming to join,
Nice.
specifically to like highlight Light Feed and Vogue and a lot of these styles that are out. You know, even breaking is out of New York. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, really make sure that we highlight that these styles are coming from New York, the MCs that come from New York, and then with the goal of, you know, we've got people coming to look at it for Chicago, for Los Angeles, for DC, for Detroit. So we would get these other iterations of it in different cities.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. I
So
think one thing I've always appreciated about your work is connecting it with the community and the culture. Right? And I think that, um, I mean, a lot of dancers can dance, but not a lot of dancers are willing to do that work to engage in the community and culture. And I think that's something, yeah, I just want to like always give you like acknowledgement for that, right? Because I think that's speaks a lot to you, your work, and of course Julie as well. But just to bring it all
no,
together,
I
yeah.
appreciate that. She's in
Yay!
here. Her and Monique.
Hey, Julie.
Monique's associate producer and co composer
Oh,
on this too. So they're both in here as well.
oh my
But
goodness, cool.
yeah. Yeah, no, we I mean the reason that I dance is community, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned from people in the community. I feel blessed to have learned from this whole culture and community and it couldn't work any other way but
Mm-hmm.
tapping back into that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think yeah, the community building aspect is just central
Yeah.
to hip hop and central like to the work that we do. So thank you. Um,
Yes. We'll
I
have to get
also
Omega up on stage at some point too.
yes. Oh, I saw you just posted you doing carnival. Is that
Yeah.
associated with anything, any of the
Um,
projects you're doing?
Actually, the carnival will be a sneak preview of this of the Passing the Crown show. Yeah, so we're taking a bit of that chapter. So it's got a mix of a couple songs, but it's also got the orchestration over it. So you'll hear Juliet and Monique's
Mm.
orchestration in there also. So yeah, super excited about that on Thursday. So yeah, it's just been really a lot of beautiful things happening that
Mhm.
finally feel like I think I was in a lot of places where I wasn't happy with how things were working,
Mm.
but I'm now grateful for those because I feel like I gained a lot of tools to then bring it to a space where I feel, you know, everybody is on the same wavelength of like care for dance and hip hop and music and community and all of
Mhm.
that.
That's awesome. Speaking of community, dance, hip hop, and all these things, I do want to also hear more about Dancer U and how, like, how did you put that together? Because I got to be just a small part of that, bringing in nutrition seminar, but it was a huge undertaking and something almost not hurt not that's not hurt but you paid the people, like you gave money to the people who participated rather than them paying for a program like that. So again, it's you're bringing something really new, something different. I kind of want to hear like what motivated you to start something like that. How did the idea how did you
Totally.
start, how did you
Yeah.
find the idea? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for asking. So something that I've noticed for a long time was um, the resources and networking and perks
Mm-hmm.
that people that really grow up in the like deep in the studio world or through the university, like the college dance system, have. That people that really learn in the community or are from communities where all these dance styles come from
Mm-hmm.
um, don't have access to.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to university for dance. I didn't study in a studio, but I was blessed later to be asked to teach in a university where I really got to see like, oh, there's a lot of things just down to like having space and bodies to try things on, or connecting with directors and producers and this stuff that kind of like streamlines the people that come through those programs
Mhm.
right into high level jobs. And
Mhm.
some of them, this is like no shade at all, but some of them only started their hip hop journey in like a couple
College.
of years ago in college, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's like that's great, but it felt like there was a lack of something like that in the street dancing and club dance and community world.
Mhm.
Um and so it had been on my mind for a while, and then I applied for a grant and received it, and it was a sizable grant. It was
Mhm.
my first grant that I applied to.
Woo!
It's
No.
probably ruined me. Thank you, thank you. Shout out to Shira Math if you need a grant writer. Shira Math, Shira Math.
Mhm.
But it's my first grant that I applied to. It probably ruined me for grants because it was such a big one. Um, but I was like, okay, I think now's the time to be able to like try this out, right?
Mhm.
So I wanted to create a space where dancers were getting like entrepreneurial skills
Mhm.
as well, because we all are our own businesses, right? And I got myself into a lot of debt, tax issues, all this stuff when I
Mhm.
was first getting into LA,
Mhm.
that I wish somebody had like told me about. And same with like nutrition, just things that I learned later on that would have been helpful earlier in my journey. And then
Mhm.
also space and bodies and a performance space to create something, because I think there's a misconception that freestylers don't create choreography or pieces, or and like all we do is go out and like freestyle and then
Mhm.
leave. and
Mhm.
and I know all these people with these brilliant ideas and just don't have the resources to place them somewhere.
Right.
And so it was this Dancers U was twofold. It was beginning with that entrepreneurial classes. You were a part of that for nutrition. We had taxes. We had we had the council come in about branding. We had different things there. And then the second half was like a residency
Mhm.
where they got to try out ideas. It was very much a work in progress, but everyone came with like beautifully done pieces.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, gorgeous pieces. But they also got to do their own lighting, so they got to learn a little bit about that. Huge shout out to No Easy Props for being our nonprofit partner on that. Um, with the Long Beach Arts Council, who was the one that the grant came through, California Arts Council, and then we got the space donated. Actually, LA Dance Space donated their space for us to put this
Beautiful.
on a real like show with a real audience. and
Mhm.
and so yeah, it was really a beautiful experience, and a proof of concept for me, so
Mhm.
that I could try to continue to um grow the program and make it a little bit like more sustainable than like waiting for each grant.
Mhm.
But we capped it at 10 people only because we did, like you said, pay the 10 students that were in that.
Mhm.
So they got a stipend for their time, for coming in, for all of that while they were
Mhm.
studying. Because also time is money, and like not everyone can take the time out of work to put towards this. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's like all of it kind of wrapped in a very long-winded short story.
Yeah. I mean, just from talking with some of the participants of that program, I saw like them a lot like breakthroughs or even just light bulbs going off.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can see from the time I saw them from during the nutrition seminar to the showcase, like something shifted even in them as creatives, and it was just so cool to see them produce something and be like, wow, I didn't know I could do that, but now it's there. It's out.
Yeah. It was funny because there was a lot of stress leading into it,
Sure.
and I think a lot were worried about like finishing,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think a lot of them surprised themselves too of
Mm-hmm.
what they could
Yeah.
do given like the resources of their time.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of great feedback, and now they have video that they can try to either like sell this piece somewhere else, or
Mm-hmm.
use it to show what they can create as choreographers, as creative
Right.
directors. Lotus actually used it to like make a mock concert for an artist she wants to work with so that she
Yeah.
has that as the art. You
Yep.
know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
it's really cool. Like everyone was so different, and that's what I love
Hmm.
about reaching into the freestyle community and the street
Yeah.
dance and club dance community is everybody's so
Hmm.
themselves and authentic in that world that every piece came out so authentic to them, so different from one another. Like
Absolutely.
we really were like, throw the idea of what a choreography piece is supposed to be out the window and like create
Yeah.
what you want to create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I see them comments, Manus. Thanks for
Yes.
joining. See ya.
Big love to India as well.
Yeah. Love that. Yeah, no, that was such a amazing show, and I'm so grateful that you asked me to be a part of that as well, and just be able to bring in some nutrition aspect. Was there any? I actually just selfishly would love some feedback, and the good, bad, ugly too. Like, what was valuable, if any,
Oh my
and
gosh. It was so valuable. I feel like that's the one that they really like afterwards were like really taking note of and really like focusing on and it's nice because you gave such uh applicable tools, right? It
Mm,
wasn't kind of this overarching like, oh, this is what's good for you and this is what it was like, this is what your plate looks like on high workout days, this is what your plate like
mm,
that is like now they can go home and do something about it instead of being like, oh, I kind of vaguely know that this and this is good for me, but like,
mm,
you know um and I think like for the bigger dancers, I would love to bring you in for like multiple sessions so we can really
mm,
dive in. But you did such a great job of like touching on so many things in one session without it being overwhelming and still getting deep enough into the things that we were touching on.
mm.
So, and
Thank you.
I honestly think that plate exercise of like breaking up the plate and stuff and like looking at it for a week afterwards was super helpful, even for people to just realize what their habits are and what maybe they can shift.
Yeah. Yeah, great. I'm glad that it was like a tool that it's easy
No,
to remember.
everybody loved it. Everybody loved
Yeah.
it. Yeah, they were geeking out for sure.
Yeah. I definitely try to make it like easy for everyone to remember, very practical, hands-on, um, visual. So I'm really glad. And that was like really a dream, just like work with amazing dancers and like work with like teach at ML as well, and like through a community program. Like that was, I was really satisfied being a part of that. So thank
That
you.
means a lot. No, thank you for being down and that was for sure just like a taster of it. So we'll be working again on a larger scale for sure, for sure.
Yay,
Yeah.
good. Well, I'm meant for just these to be like just 30 minutes. Was there anything else you want to share or promote or questions even?
No, I'm super appreciative of you having me in here. I'm very, very appreciative for your help with Dancers U. Very appreciative of your participation in Omega. You're always such a light every time you join. And so I look forward to more ways that we build together.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Omega. Like Omega Floorwork, definitely follow Randy and all the things Floorwork related. So that I mean, just if you have, I mean, I gotta type that up because that literally was a lifesaver. That community
Um,
was a lifesaver for me during COVID, and for I know for a lot of people. So
It
yeah,
was it was for me too, for sure.
yeah.
It was like I think that was it's gonna continue for forever, but that was such a beautiful space for it to be born in, I think.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's more we can talk about that, but thank you. Hey, we got some big fans
Yes,
here.
go check out Jonathan Shea for
Yeah,
Cairo. I was talking about that earlier.
yes,
Yes, that's the man. He's fixing my body.
yeah. Big fan of the folks out in Movement Society as well. I want to give a
Yes.
shout out.
Yes. I saw
Um,
Tasha's in here too.
Yay.
Omega. Tasha's a great mover. Great people came through this chat, so
Yeah,
appreciate
this is great.
y'all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Randy. Like this is I had Bex like way back earlier in the year and I've been trying to like get this going. I'm like, you know what? Let me just
Do
make this
it.
happen, reach
Yes.
out to some people,
Yes.
and I want to make this a consistent thing. So
I love it. I'll
thank
be
you for
tuning
being
into the next one. I'm excited to see who's next.
awesome. Thank
All
you,
right.
Randy.
Take care. I'll see
All
you
right.
soon.
Take care. Bye bye. All right. Bye, y'all.